to the Triple B podcast. Let's fucking go.
Welcome back to the Triple B podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters, episode motherfucking 15 coming at you.
What?
I'm Ryan.
I'm Tim.
And this is a show where we drank on some bourbon, we talk about wrestling, and we talk about blockbusters.
Hell yeah, man.
We break some shit down, and we enjoy each other's friendship.
Yeah, we do.
Dude,
we do.
We're fucking back, man, and what a week.
What
a goddamn week it's been, and we're going to
week.
get into it. I'm excited.
Let's get right into it.
First things first, we have our cocktail of the week this week. It is the Mark of the Beast cocktail. Now, what that is it is a very simple cocktail, actually. It sounds intense. Mm-hmm. The name of it makes you just be like, whoa, what is that? Makes you be like, yeah, like metal. But it's actually a very simple cocktail. It is just 2 ounces of bourbon. It is a half ounce of honey simple syrup. So it's literally just honey. It's a 1-to-1 ratio of honey and water boiled together to make a simple syrup. And then it is 3 dashes of 3 different bitters. So Peychaud's bitters, Angostura bitters, and orange bitters.
Nice.
And then we stir it. No shaky this week. I know. I'm sorry, everybody out there.
Stirry.
But it was stirry. And yeah, and then you just strain it and you top it off with a lovely toasted orange twist.
Yeah, man.
We're going to give ourselves our taste and give our ranking and see how the fuck we like this bad boy.
Hell yeah, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. I can tell you one thing. The smell of it is just fucking heavenly.
Yeah, it is.
It is absolutely delightful.
This is the Mark of the Beast. This should be like Mark of the soft teddy bear because it is
it's smooth,
delightful.
All hell. That is, yeah, that's nice.
Perfect
It sounds like it's gonna, like, Mark of the Beast sounds like it's gonna be like a
punch
like
you in the
yeah,
throat.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna like burn. It's gonna be like a cinnamon almost. That
Yeah.
has nothing to do with cinnamon. Dude, that's really good.
That is super good.
Shit.
Has just the perfect amount of sweet in it.
I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna go again just to really get my palate right.
Shoot, man, I'm gonna give it a 9. A 9.
I think I'm gonna join you on that. Yeah, I think that's definitely 9 worthy.
That's gonna have to come
really
into
good.
my regular rotation.
Yeah. And the nice thing about the ingredients is the honey simple syrup's super easy to make.
Yeah.
It's literally, like I said, 1-to-1. Then it's just bourbon.
Mm.
And then once you have the bitters last fucking forever.
Yeah.
Like, not only like shelf life does it last for fucking ever, it literally, because you only use like a couple dashes of it.
Exactly.
And it's a decent sized bottle for only using a couple drops each time you use it. So shelf life lasts forever, and the actual like use of it lasts forever. So that is definitely one that you could regularly do too.
Yeah, man.
It's like, oh man, damn, that's good.
Highly recommend this.
Highly recommend. Yes.
Recipe will be up on our socials, which we're getting to right now.
Yeah.
We are at Trip B Pod for our Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok. We
Yeah.
are the Triple B Podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon.
Yeah.
And we got our Gmail at triplebpod619@gmail.com. So whatever way you want to reach out to us, let's get some feedback and hear from you guys and see what you want on the show or what you thought of it or what drinks you want to recommend or whatever. If you have a question that you want to put in the Belts question of the week, Blockbusters question of the week, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. One thing I wanted to say about this that I almost mentioned to you before, but I wanted to give you just a fair blind taste to this. The Peychaud's bitters has, I might get up and grab it here in a second just so you can smell it so you know what I'm talking about. the scent of it has a very like black licorice scent to it.
Oh, okay.
So that's why like I almost said that, but then I was like, I don't know how you feel about black licorice, because a lot of people that's like a oh my god type thing. I'm like, I've always liked black licorice, so it's never bothered me. But I was curious how it was going to pair with just everything, and it's like all of it it's just super good. So
I'm on the spectrum of I'm not a big fan, and I gave it a 9. So
I'm gonna grab it real quick. I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
Oh, I want you to just
give that a little sniff.
Put that up in your nostrils. Can you kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So like, and I've never had this before until I saw this in the. We'll put that right here.
Yeah.
Put that out there. Put that out there for the world to see.
I like it.
But yeah, I never had that bitters until I saw this in the recipe. This came from that bourbon book I told you about that Lindsay got for me.
Oh, nice.
And so yeah, I was just like, oh yeah, got to come up with a cocktail. So we're not quite into fall yet.
And
so I'm holding
my house
off.
would tell you otherwise.
Oh, I know. Ours would too. Our house would also tell you otherwise. We got gnomes all over the damn place in our house as well.
September 1st hits, it's fall time.
Yeah, dog. I mean, dude, it was
house.
it was August for us. Like it was
gotcha.
it was like the end of August. We were making soups in the crock pot. Like it was just like it is. We're over the hot weather. We're over the heat, so we're ready to be rocking and rolling.
We are moving to Mondays. We've been posting episodes up on Sunday, just with scheduling with work life for Ryan and work life for me. It actually works better if we can release on Monday. So Mondays, we haven't decided on a time, but I mean, it comes out at noon right now, so might as well keep it around that similar time. But yeah, look for us on Mondays now.
Yep, absolutely. I'm a teacher. I was on summer, so over summer it worked really well for us to like film on Fridays at any point during the day because you're off on Fridays. I was obviously off, but then once I got back to work, it was like obviously I'm teaching in the middle of the day on Friday, so I can't do that anymore. So we just moved it to Saturdays to film, and then that just kind of gives us a little buffer to do the editing and get everything ready to post and whatnot. So yeah, we're moving to Mondays, which also is we're transitioning our wrestling content schedule.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
So before we had been doing like covering Friday to Monday essentially. So Smackdown and Monday, filming that next Friday earlier in the day before that Friday Smackdown had aired. Mm-hmm. And then we would release on Sundays. Yeah. So now because we moved to Saturday, it just made sense to us to kind of bump the content schedule to now Raw to SmackDown, so Monday to Friday, and then we're filming the next day after SmackDown, and then releasing now 2 days later on Monday. So
we're just giving them fresh content.
Even more fresh.
Keep up with it.
Absolutely.
It makes sense to me. So I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Dude, we're just going to continue each week now throughout the football season. We're going to talk a little bit of Seahawks football, maybe a little bit of Tennessee Titans football, even though you might not want to talk about that one this week. I don't want to talk about it this week. But, hey, man, there was a moment in the Hawks game where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to want to talk about this either. So, so the Seahawks are 1-0. One of two teams in the NFC West that are 1-0. The Hawks and the Niners. With the Cardinals dropping a close one to the Bills and the Rams dropping an overtime game to the Lions. Yeah. Which is kind of reminiscent of the wild card game, wild card or divisional round last playoffs. Either way. But yeah. So you had asked me how I thought the game was going to go, kind of what my score prediction was on last week's episode. I thought it was going to be a 2-score game. It was a 2-score game. Right up to like the last what was it, like a little under 3 minutes left? I think
below the 3 minute mark. Yeah,
and then we ended up giving up a rushing touchdown to Bo Nix, which was fine. And here's the thing with that. So it ended up being we won 26-20, but the first half of the game was ugly.
Yeah, it was.
Defensively, it was solid for both teams, honestly.
Yeah,
but like our defense was playing their ass off the whole game. Like they were playing really well. So you got to give them their flowers there, especially just everything being so new. But it's like head coach Mike McDonald, you kind of expect the defense to ball out in game one. I think we got I think we got 3 turnovers in the game,
I
2
think
picks
so.
and a fumble recovery, I believe. So yeah, but then the second half was like a completely different football team was out there,
which is the opposite from what we have been seeing
exactly,
with the Hawks.
right?
It's strong first half and just let the wheels
Yeah.
off on the second half.
So that was exciting. That was encouraging. That was definitely like a confidence booster to end the game the way they did. Also, to be able to give up the touchdown towards the end of the game to make it an under 1 score game, right?
Mhm.
It's a 26-20. I mean, that's yes, 1 score, but
Yeah,
for the most part, PATs are
almost a give me.
yeah, almost a gimme. There are times where they get missed and whatnot, but for the most part, as it should be, it's kind of expected that you're getting 7 if you score. So to be down to be up only 6 with that much time left, years past it would have been like, fuck. Our offense is going to get out there. We're going to fucking shit the bed, and we're going to give them the ball back with probably over 2 minutes left and like 1 or 2 timeouts. So then with a 2-minute warning, they have even more, and just always put ourselves in a shitty position to then have our defense try to hold. And historically, for the last 5-6 years, our defense has not been able to hold very well.
No.
There were games, but then more times than not, it always seemed like we were giving it up. So to see our offense get the ball back and then fucking finish the game was so exciting for me, especially with the way the first half went.
No kidding.
It was like, holy shit, like we haven't been able to do that in years.
Yeah.
It's just put a game away like that. So that was super exciting. I heard a lot, read interviews, watched interviews, and a lot of players were really commending the coaching staff with the changes the adjustments and stuff that they made on the fly at halftime was super impressive, they said.
Yeah.
And I think that showed, obviously, like for it to be a first-time head coach, first-time offensive coordinator in the NFL, obviously Grubb had been the Huskies coordinator for the last few years and then at an even smaller college school before that. And then Aiden Durd, the defensive coordinator's first time being a DC. Mm-hmm. So a lot of firsts there with the coaching staff, a lot of brand new, a lot of like stepping into big shoes that none of them have ever done before. For them to make those adjustments was really impressive. So that was cool.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty excited from what I saw. The defense, first and foremost, was the most exciting thing to see. They played a complete game. Yeah. They did give up touchdown at the end, but by then it was pretty close to in hand. And Tyrell Dodson, I believe, played awesome in the middle linebacker spot, filling in for the vacant spot that Bobby Wagner left. And those are big shoes to fill, and he came up clutch in a lot of spots. So
it was really cool to see Reek Woolen back in form as well too.
I was going to mention that.
A lot of people shit on him last year, but he had been injured, and it was only his sophomore season. It was only his second year in the league. He had the injury, and he came back. He wasn't 100%, and he was like he was more afraid to plant, and that was like the big thing. So it was like you saw him back in like that rookie form that we saw. I mean, he was covering really well. Yeah, Trey Brown. There were some moments where it was kind of like, he's the one that gave up quite a bit of things that were given up. But for the most part, all around the defense just played lights out. Julian Love looked fucking great playing safety.
Yes, yeah.
Like to the point where it was like, the coaching staff last year deserved to be fired for not playing him enough and putting Jamal Adams in. Like it was ridiculous. So looked good. We got the Patriots tomorrow morning in Foxborough. How do you feel about that? What are you thinking?
I think we still have a chance. I'm not going to put my blinders on and go, woo, we're 1-0. It's going to be an easy season from here. We got a tough schedule ahead of us before our bye week. And
we got a late bye week too, don't we?
I think it's
or is it
7 or 8. So it's right about around the mid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Patriots play hard.
Yes,
they won their week 1 matchup, and they play hard. So I'm worried, but if our defense comes out kind of like what they did in the first game, it should be us winning.
This game, because of the week 1 Seahawks game, first half to second half, and the Cincinnati New England game, I'm very much right now just like, I'm not sure what to expect with the game tomorrow, because I'm like, did we figure it out in the second half? And like in the first half, was Grubb just calling plays, getting a little too big in his britches for his first game, calling shit in the NFL, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe he like was like, oh, hold up, fuck, let's reset and get back to our bread and butter type thing. And if that's the case, then fuck yeah, our offense is gonna be solid.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was essentially the second half of the game. K9 put up over 100 yards rushing because they didn't hand the ball off to him a whole shit ton in the first half, and that was the issue.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
But he went for over 100. We rushed for like 146 yards or something like that total. We threw for another like 179, 180-ish, somewhere in there. But it was that compared then with, were the Patriots that good last week? Or was Cincy just fucking that bad?
True.
That's where I'm like, I'm not sure, because it's only 1 week. You can't really tell.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, other than T. Higgins being out, Cincinnati was at full strength.
Yeah.
Like, Jamar Chase played. Joe Burrow's fully healthy. Their running back is, I forget his fucking name, but he was fully healthy. He's there. As far as I know, their offensive line's solid. I don't know that they're missing very many keys on defense. Like, has Cincinnati just gone down that much? Because they looked fucking awful.
Yeah.
Like, they looked terrible. The Patriots didn't necessarily look great.
True.
Offensively,
they got
their defense looks nice.
No, not a rookie quarterback. They got Brissett.
Yeah. But
I think my worry with them is just the rush game. We didn't get a lot of rushing on us last week, and historically, that's been one of our weaker points. And obviously, a brand new scheme.
yeah, and I think that's where I'm actually not as worried.
Okay.
Is because of the brand new scheme with McDonald as the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, obviously, like, shit happens in games, but like all around, he ain't getting gashed up the middle. Like, that's like his biggest takeaway, pretty much. So I don't know. I mean, come tomorrow morning, I could be completely fucking wrong about that. We could get completely sliced. I don't know, but it's week 2. It's exciting. There's still a lot of unknowns, and I think it's just, I'm fucking stoked to wake up tomorrow morning and watch that game.
Here for the ride, man.
Yeah, dog.
Which brings us to our wellness journey, right?
Man.
We're 4 weeks in now.
We are
to our wellness journey, and I gotta say, I had a pretty awesome 2 weeks.
Good.
I'm down to 257.4, I think it was.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So a 5.1 overall weight loss.
Hell yeah,
and
man.
4 pounds from the last weigh-in we did. The biggest thing, again, just focusing on portions has been huge. Haley's been a lifesaver for dinner. She's like, no, you're not having more.
That's awesome.
And then I had some good times at the gym. I got there at least 3 times a week for the past couple of weeks, and drinking water and
It's huge.
cutting back on the coffee intake that I have. So it's been good. The
Awesome, man.
challenges I've been facing, just still working on the portion control, and then just getting the motivation to go to the gym has been a struggle. I get there and have a good workout, but the getting me there to the gym has been the tough spot for me.
Yeah. My 2 weeks were not as good. Primarily because I talked about it the 2 weeks ago. I had fucked my calf up, and that ended up actually being like, I fucked my calf up.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just like I was hoping it was going to be like, oh, I just kind of tweaked it and I'm going to take the weekend and I'll be good. I went back to the gym on that Tuesday, and I was like 2/3 of the way through my workout. And I was doing shit light too. Like I was not, because it's like a HIIT program, right? It's not the kickboxing gym. And so I was doing like Heisman's over called equalizer bar. And I was like, dude, I could not have been any lighter on my feet.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't going like do. I was going real slow and gentle, and still just one of the push-offs, I just felt it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I couldn't plant on that foot. And I was just like, fuck. So I was pissed, man. I stormed out a 9-round. I was so mad. Like I ended up getting a text later from one of the other trainers that knows me,
Uh-huh.
and was like, hey, Alan told me that you left in the middle of the workout this morning and you didn't seem too happy. Is everything okay?
Yeah.
You know, because like they know me and like they know that I'm not like that normally, obviously. So like I'm usually very happy, very up tempo and upbeat and everything. And that was just like, that was killer for me because I fucking hate being hurt. So, but I was still going on walks.
Okay.
I was doing everything I could do. And then on Thursday, I actually did some stuff with one of my classes just to kind of test.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm good.
All right.
Or at least,
there we go.
At least I think I'm good to at least start again. I don't know if I'm like fully good, like to go 100%, but I think I'm good to at least start getting back into it. So there was those challenges there for me. Other challenges were just food wise this week specifically. I had Tuesday some stuff happened that were like me and Lindsay were just very frustrated about, and so it was just like one of those things where we're like, we need to get the fuck out of the house type of thing. Like let's the three of us, me, her, and our daughter, let's go get dinner. And so like we were gonna do tacos at home.
Yeah.
We just went to Mexican instead.
Nice.
So like we ate out that day. I went and picked Lainey up Wednesday from Lindsay's dad's house, and she fell asleep like right after I got her in the truck. So then I just like took the long way home. So I went through Bonnie Lake, and then there was construction, and there was a bunch of traffic. And at that point I was starving. So I ended up stopping and getting fast food, which I was just like, while it was happening, I was like, what am I doing? But I was fucking starving.
Yeah.
And I was still 40 minutes from home. And then my fucking dad just randomly texted me Thursday and was like, hey, we're on our way to your house.
No.
We're bringing pizza.
Ooh,
and I was like,
that's my weak spot.
I know. I was like, what the fuck? So I ended up eating pizza that night, which like all in all, it wasn't terrible. It's not like I was eating like totally awfully. But all of that said,
yeah,
I still managed to lose a little weight.
There you go.
So
there you go.
All in all, because like all my other meals and everything for the last 2 weeks have been really good. They're planned out. Me and Lindsay are like really dialing shit in, just like you guys are, it sounds like, and portion control and all that, really trying to think through it all. I weighed in at 237.5.
Nice.
So I was 239.4 last time. I lost 1.9 essentially, so just under 2 pounds again. So I'm just under 4 total. And I feel like once, like now that I'm hopefully going to be able to get back to the gym and then I can put it all together, and I shouldn't have anything really that comes up and pops up to throw off the diet stuff, or not diet, but like the actual like nutrition, the food part of it. I think I'll be able to kind of bounce back and recoup a little. So,
slow and steady, man. Slow and steady.
It's all that matters. Like with all of that, I still saw loss. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's a win. Totally good with it. Now, I did just come from the fair. So I don't know. I don't know what that did, but I did have me an earthquake burger and some Dippin' Dots. I will say that. But
it's the fair, man.
We're
you
at the fair.
Live.
We're at the fair. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to torture myself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, it's all in moderation, and you can't be too hard on yourself about shit, because you also got to be able to enjoy life. So
exactly, man.
Yeah, dog.
All right.
Good. Hell yeah, man. Kudos. Cheers. Cheers to us.
Cheers to us.
Cheers to us. And this fucking drink is good.
I know. It is so good.
It might look creepy on camera, but every time I go to drink it, I stop and sniff it first. I'm like... Anyways, that brings us to belts. Like we said, we are shifting our content coverage now from Friday, Monday to now Monday, Friday. So because we don't want to leapfrog like we had before when we switched, we are going to still cover last week's episode of SmackDown, then we're going to cover Raw, and then last night's episode of SmackDown, which we actually were at. We got to go to SmackDown. We were at SmackDown last night, live in Seattle at Climate Pledge Arena for the season premiere on USA. So, that all being said, we are going to cover last week's episode, obviously with the knowledge of what has already played out since then. So there's not gonna be like any open-ended questions or anything like that because we already know the answers and all the stuff that like last week built to this week to culminate. So we already know what happened. So we're just gonna kind of go through just very matter-of-factly, probably cover last week's SmackDown fairly quick.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to linger
we'll
on any of it.
We'll get into more of the detail with last night's episode. So,
absolutely.
So just kind of as a preface to that for everybody. Want to take it away?
Yeah. So Cody opens the show. He is celebrating his win over KO, but he's already ready for his next opponent, and he knows that Solo said he's next up in line, and so he says, "Let's not waste any time. Let's get out here." I like what he did right here, where he was like talking, like going, "Oh, you have been awesome. You're an enforcer," and he was actually talking about Jacob Fatu, and that kind of brought Jacob to the front, and Solo just kind of looked at him, and he's like, "I love you, man," and then back down.
Yeah.
And Cody Rhodes was like, "I was just seeing if I could divide you guys," and so him basically just say, next week is when it's going to happen, and that leads to what's going to be a cage match that we saw last night. Title match in the steel cage
for the USA premiere.
I thought that's awesome. There hasn't been a steel cage match on SmackDown in a while.
Yeah.
The last one I could remember on Raw was Becky Lynch versus Trish.
Yeah.
So fresh to see, and a big stipulation for it, which I think is fitting for this to hopefully culminate the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes, which we know is not true.
Yeah, for sure. This kind of led to a segment where we got some more bit of a drama build between Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, where Nia kind of in a roundabout sort of way confronted her with what it seemed to be her trying to cash in the week before during the street fight. Tiffany Stratton obviously like denies that was what it was. She was out there to help her. Just kind of the same building tension that we've been getting through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, we just got a lot more. Like this is obviously leading somewhere.
Yeah. And just during their match, Stratton versus Bayley, Nia distracts the ref while Stratton is pinning Bayley.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure.
So it just kind of is. We see the tension rising,
absolutely,
and definitely gets brought up again last night on SmackDown.
Yep,
so
absolutely,
that leads us to KO versus A-Town Down Under in a triple threat. So it was triple threat with him, but essentially it's a handicap match. But we did see
we saw some tension.
We
saw some tension between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pulling each other off pin attempts.
I like it. I like it. They've been playing this long game of tension between them.
Long fuse.
KO wins with a stunner of all things. I think we talked about how he hasn't won with a stunner. Yeah. So that was nice, but
Austin Theory's selling of the stunner it's like classic. It's like Shane McMahon selling the stunner.
Yeah, or Rock.
Or The Rock. Yeah,
is just king of overselling the stunner. But it was awesome.
Really good. So,
but KO wins this, and that ends up leading to what happens last night: a tag team match with KO having a mystery partner.
Yep. We get a kind of quick segment. It wasn't too long, nothing, but it was a pretty heated segment where we got LA Knight out talking. Carmelo comes out and interrupts him, confronts him, saying that he's up 2 in a row on Andrade, leaving out the fact that they're 2-2 in the series.
Yes.
But he mentions how he's 2-0 in the series, 2-0 in the last 2 matches in the series, and that he should be next in line for the belt. And just talking trash. This leads to Andrade obviously coming out and then confronting Carmelo. And then they kind of go at it. LA Knight kind of slips out. This ends up leading to what we get last night also, which is Carmelo versus Andrade 5, with the stipulation being essentially the winner is going to be the number 1 contender for the U.S. title. So
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And that lastly leads to Bloodline versus DIY and Street Profits. It was a pretty straightforward match. Bloodline wins and does a big beatdown on DIY and Street Profits post match. Not much to it. They're showing their dominance and end the show with the ones in the air.
Yep.
Which brings us to Raw.
Raw kicks off with a fucking banger.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, it was I guess it was the season premiere of Raw too,
yeah.
right? So season premiere of Raw, which I've never really understood the season premiere. You would think that would be after WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's what
right?
I would consider.
You would
a new
assume that
season.
the season would be like Mania to Mania, or like the match or the Raw after Mania to WrestleMania would be the season. But I digress. We don't understand it, but it's not up to us to make the decision. So we got the season premiere of Raw in the middle or the very beginning of September, essentially. And it was an hour-long commercial-free start.
Yeah, it was.
So the first hour of the 3-hour show was commercial-free. So we get the Wyatt Six versus American Made in an 8-man street fight. We get Dexter Lumis, Eric Rowan. I always forget. Gacy. I always forget Joe Gacy. Gacy and Nikki Cross against the Creed brothers, Chad Gable, and
Ivy Nile.
Ivy Nile, yes, thank you. Dude.
They went hard,
fucking
man.
Brutal match, man.
They went hard.
Yeah, they went really hard. Nikki Cross and Ivy Nile may have actually, like, to a point, stole the show in certain spots.
Yeah.
Like, they were fucking going at each other.
Nikki Cross doing the German to Chad Gable,
yes,
too. That was awesome.
Dope. That was so dope. I did appreciate the fact that you could totally tell that Chad Gable jumped into it, but it was still, she still hit it really nice. It was good. It was awesome. But yeah, we get Wyatt Six end up coming out on top with Uncle Howdy coming in, and as you kind of could expect it to happen, Uncle Howdy comes in and hits Gable with, goddamn, man. Gable's ability to sell the Sister Abigail is insane.
Yeah.
He lands straight up in the air on the top of his head every fucking time he takes it. And it's very believable that it's like, it's very close to that security guard that Cody hit with the crossroads.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I don't, like, they land on the top of their head. I don't get it, how they don't actually hurt themselves. But because, like, that's not as simple as just taking a DDT.
No,
like, that's not as simple as RVD selling the DDTs.
Yeah,
right. Like,
I mean, you were just the way
you're
he whips
twisting
you around
into it and then landing on your head and then flipping out of it. It's impressive. But we get Uncle Howdy interfering in the match to set up the win with the assisted splash. Yeah. Right, from is that Loomis? Is that Dexter Loomis who hits the splash, and Eric Rowan kind of adds a little extra momentum, throwing him down in the air to win the match. Yeah, Wyatt Six win it.
I thought it was a good match, like you said, brutal. Yeah. I just don't know that. I want good things for Chad Gable. The guy is been doing great things on Raw. So does this end the feud with them? Is this the blow off and he's on to his next? Or do you think there's anything more ahead for them?
Part of me hopes that this specific feud is done.
Yeah.
I kind of hope this ends it for the sake of both groups, honestly, because with just the way that the Wyatt Six is being built, you're not going to have American Made beat them. Mm-hmm. I just don't feel like it would make sense.
I agree.
And I feel like it would hurt the Wyatt Six too much, where the Wyatt Six winning this doesn't hurt American Made, really.
No,
it really doesn't. It's kind of a protected thing because American Made is set up to lose this match. Like that's what the expectation is.
Yeah.
But I think that it could then they could lead to something else where, you know, they I don't know what it could lead to, but it could lead to something else down the line. And then with Wyatt Six, I feel like it needs to lead to pushes for titles.
Yeah.
Like it, you know what I mean? Like it needs to lead to them being the enforcing and truly imposing group on Raw.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's my hope for it. I hope that we start getting that where like they just start like putting themselves into all sorts of different storylines to just kind of assert their dominance over the brand. And lead to even more, like, I would love to see them even like start hunting Adam Pearce.
That would be nice.
You know, like we always loved all of the older storylines where you got the general managers involved more than just what they have been, but like actually legitly involved as like a centerpiece of a storyline.
Agreed.
We always love that shit. Anytime like Taker did it with Teddy Long, you know, like that type of stuff. Like we love that stuff. Stone Cold and Vince, like Daniel Bryan and the Authority, like all of those things are some of the best storylines over the last few decades. So I would love to see something else like that.
I agree. I think it definitely is time for them to change direction on them and pick out their next victim. So yeah. That leads us to Bret Hart coming out. He's in his hometown, Calgary.
Hell yeah.
And he is just hyping up being in Calgary and talking about things, and quickly gets interrupted by Gunther.
Yep.
And I thought this was a really good segment. Gunther really shined on the mic here.
He did. Redeemed himself
from that one
the Orton.
Yes,
the
exactly.
Orton confrontation.
Because he was getting booed pretty heavily here, which is, I mean, you're interrupting Bret the Hitman Hart
in Canada of all things.
As he's like saying, "You were the best."
Yeah.
And then the one jab is his favorite wrestler is none other than Bill Goldberg. And I love that he called him Bill Goldberg.
He said that, and I was like, "What?" Like, I was literally, I don't remember what I was doing. I wasn't sitting down watching it when that happened. I might have been getting Lainey something like for dinner or something ready. But I heard that, and I literally stopped what I was doing, and I turned and I did a double take at the TV. I was like, "Did he just say that? Did he say what I think he said? Did he just say Bill Goldberg is his favorite wrestler of all time? Gunther?" Gunther said that? What?
Man. That jab was great, but this brings out Sammy. Again, Gunther denied him his request for a title match, and really this just keeps that tension going. And again, Sammy's like, "Give me the title shot," and Gunther declines again, and that leads Bret Hart to go, "You coward, you big yellow coward," and kept on saying it. Get physical between Sammy and Gunther.
Little bit of fisticuffs.
But still no confirmed title match yet.
Nothing's confirmed.
But
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. It is going to happen.
Bad Blood's going to be a fucking stacked card.
Seriously will be.
Because if that doesn't happen at Bad Blood, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It has to happen at Bad Blood, but it's going to be a fucking stacked card. It is
looking so good.
We'll get to that more.
But yeah.
Yeah. This leads to Drew McIntyre coming out and doing Drew McIntyre things on the
Mm-hmm.
microphone. He's talking about how he ended CM Punk's career and how, you know, Punk thought that he was done with this and that he was going to move on to the world title shot and all of that, and how Punk, you know, essentially overstepped and Drew McIntyre ended it. And he thinks he ended CM Punk's career. He thinks Punk's never coming back. This leads to Drew essentially turning his attention to Wade Barrett, which caught me off guard, caught me by surprise, because Wade's been the only person in the entire company that has even attempted to kind of have McIntyre's back. Yeah, he's the one that has like tried to hold him back from doing things. Like, you're gonna get yourself suspended, dude. Like, they're longtime friends. Drew mentions how they like came to this country together, they roomed together, they traveled together, like all that stuff. And he's like getting closer, starts coming out of the ring. Wade Barrett stands up. They're like getting ready to kind of get face to face. And then out comes Adam Pearce telling Drew to essentially like, "Dude, you need to chill the hell out. Like, you're being ridiculous." He's like, "Now you want to now go at your only friend in the company, essentially." Like what are you doing? And then Adam Pearce makes a hell of an announcement.
Hell yeah!
Not only is CM Punk's career not over, but CM Punk will be back, and CM Punk wants Drew McIntyre again. We're getting that.
Yes, we are.
Leading, kind of adding on to what we talked about at Bad Blood being a stacked card. Boy, Oberto. we're getting Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk in none other than a fucking Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood.
We were talking about how this match needed to be a big one, right?
Yeah.
It had to have big stakes, and what bigger than Hell in a Cell?
Did I say?
I
said, because like after I said something, I might have said steel cage,
yeah,
but
I think it was steel cage.
I might have said steel cage, but I also know I said that I thought Carmelo and Andrade 5 needed to be in a steel cage.
That's true.
So I part of me, we might have to relook back. I know I said something of the sort that like it needs to be the stakes are higher, and that like Hell in a Cell is perfect because you can't run from each other.
Exactly.
So like I don't know if I said Hell in a Cell or if I said steel cage, but dude, we're getting it.
Hell yeah,
and
man.
that like Adam Pearce is really corny. Like he's really corny.
Super corny.
But he delivered that with authority and intensity that I don't feel like we've really seen from him very often.
Mm-hmm.
That I was like, fuck yeah. Like I felt it. I was like, let's go. Like I got a little goosebumpy. I was like, all right, we're getting a fucking Hell in a Cell match, man. Let's go.
I like it. Question for you. With Drew turning his sights on Wade Barrett, do you think this brings Wade Barrett out of retirement for a future match between the two?
Dude, I don't know. So here's the thing. I don't even know. I wasn't following wrestling in the years that Wade Barrett did retire.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly, to this day, don't, and you could probably tell me, I don't know why he retired. I don't know what forced him into retirement. I don't know what the injury was. But that was like the first thing that popped in my mind when he stood up. I was like, these motherfuckers are going to go at it right now? Are we going to get Wade Barrett actually like getting physical for the first time in what's been a few years now? I was kind of like, oh shit, I don't know. So, I mean, I could definitely see it, but but then at the same time, I'm also like, I don't know how to conclusively and satisfactorily, however you say that, conclude Drew and CM Punk while then leading into Wade and Drew.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because like we already had the Seth Rollins involvement. We didn't care for it. We got the strap match, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
This needs to again just be them, and it needs to end. I think this is the final. I think, because I don't know how you can get bigger than a Hell in a Cell match, right? So I think this is going to be the final chapter in the feud, and I think it needs to end just like that. I think it just needs to end between them one-on-one.
I agree.
So I don't want there to be like Wade Barrett somehow get involved and help CM Punk win, and then that's what sparks the feud. I don't want that to be the case. Well, we'll see how it plays out.
Just one definitive winner.
Yeah.
We got a whole lot of Judgment Day drama going on still, Priest and everything. But Baylor calls out Priest and basically rehashes what he's talked about in the last month since splitting off from them, splitting
Taking
off
them
of
out of the
Judgment Day.
Day.
Yeah, exactly. Just saying it was Priest who kept on distracting things from happening, like with the Money in the Bank. You know, he just always looming over that while he was going for the title, and then taking over a leadership role and kind of putting the back of Judgment Day to the side. And, you know, I kind of, you know, can see where Baylor's coming from. But Priest said, you know, he's like, let's just do this one-on-one. And of course, Judgment Day comes out and does a full-on attack on Priest. Even Liv gets involved, which brings out Mommy. Rhea Ripley comes out, just
still
hobbling.
Yeah.
And then she gets taken out, and then Jay comes to the rescue.
And dude, they were beating them down. Like, Liv was smacking the ever-living shit out of Damian Priest with that crutch.
Yeah,
dude.
she was.
Like, there was no pull, there was no give. It was like, when I think they later said that Priest had been taken to a local, like Rhea had left with Priest to go to a local hospital or whatever to check for like internal injuries.
Yeah.
Like, it was believable because they were beating the shit out of him with that crutch. And then I thought it was a really cool moment before Jay came out when like she was going to hit Rhea, and after getting the shit beat out of him, Priest covered Rhea, like sacrifice himself to go over the top of Rhea.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they kept beating him I was like, fuck, dude, there's been a lot of brutal shit going on.
Yeah.
On the brands right now. And I've been loving it. But yeah, we get Jay coming out.
What I liked about this was they didn't play his music. Like, who plays music to come out and save someone, right?
That's
they want
true,
to
yeah.
they want to catch them out by surprise. So I kind of like that.
We did get Rhea's music playing when she came out. So
I mean, it does kind of distract, it gets them to look towards the stage, but also it was just nice to see Jay just run out. You didn't have any clue he was running out.
It felt like it actually was like it caught them off guard because when they realized it as he was getting in the ring with a chair, they all just like, it felt like it was just like instinct. They're like, oh shit, he's coming with a chair, and they got out of the ring.
Yeah.
Whereas like each of them had that individual thought, they all dispersed.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you could look at it like there's 5 of you in the ring and only just him with a chair.
Yeah.
So like you can take that, but it was like all of them were like, oh shit, here he's coming with a chair. I need to save myself, and they all dispersed the same way.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I like that too.
Adding to your stack card, they announced that it's gonna be Baylor versus Priest and Liv versus Rhea. So
yeah, man. So we're getting
it's loaded.
Dude, yeah, we're getting what we're assuming is going to be Sammy and Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Assuming.
Yeah.
We're getting, what was the other? Oh, fucking Drew and Punk in a Hell in a Cell. We're getting Priest versus Balor in this grudge match that we've been waiting for, one-on-one, that we've been talking about needs to be the thing. And we're getting the Rhea versus Liv at Bad Blood for the women's world title, which is the other thing that we've been saying. Like, this is how this feud needs to conclude, or these 2 matches taking place. So, hell yeah, man.
Feels like the name is fitting for the matches
it
that
does, yeah. There's all
are happening.
Grudges,
yeah.
Because like even Sammy and Gunther, there's history there with the IC,
Yeah.
And then obviously the other 3 that we just mentioned. So yeah, dude, it's gonna be a
great show.
I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a good one. This led us to our main event of the night, which was the conclusion of the Intercontinental Tournament. We had the 4 different triple threat matches. We had Ilya Dragunov, Braun Strowman, Pete Dunne, and Jey Uso, who all won those 4 respective matches, all take part in a fatal 4-way match to determine the number 1 contender for Braun Breaker's Intercontinental title. Really good match.
It was solid.
It was really good. I liked they played into Braun still being kind of banged up, but then again still kind of just showing how monstrous he is even when he's down. He's still such a physical threat. Mm-hmm. You got some really good just in-ring work between Ilya and Pete Dunne going back and forth. They're both really good workers in the ring, and you got to kind of showcase that. And then you got just the classic Jey Uso, like just being Jey Uso in the fucking ring. He's amazing. We did end up with the only thing that we thought might be an interference of anything. We thought that there could be 3 different forms of interference, but only one of them I think actually took place.
Yeah, Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed came out and hit a splash, caught Braun Strowman out of fucking nowhere through the announce table.
I thought that was such a cool spot.
Yeah, it was awesome. One thing that surprised me here was that he then literally just left.
Mm-hmm.
I partly would have expected him to like just wreak havoc on the entire match.
Yeah,
but he didn't. So that kind of caught me off guard, but it was, he kept his sights totally set on Braun Strowman and left it at that. So that took Braun Strowman out of the match. And then, I don't know about you, but I was shocked at the outcome.
I was 100%
completely shocked because I thought, and I said it last week, and you said that you expected Ilya Dragunov to win. And I said it, I think last week or the week before, that I don't know if you want to put Jay and Braun against each other because it could potentially be like a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Because you both have these 2 that are being built and should be getting built. And I don't know if you really want to end either of those. But that's exactly what we're getting. We got Jey Uso coming out on top in this match. He hit the splash to win it.
Yeah.
Dragunov hit Pete Dunne with I forget the name of that move that he hits, but he hit him with that move. He went for the pin. Well, he hit him with the one move, and then he did like the falling elbow to the face into the cover, and then brutal super kick.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Ilya Dragunov is laying on top of him, on top of Pete Dunne, and he just looks up and catches Jey Uso's foot. Just boom. Knocks him off. Jey hops up on the top rope, hits a splash on Pete Dunne to get the 1-2-3. He's now the number one contender. One thing I did really like and I appreciated about this whole thing was Braun Breaker didn't attack him.
Yes.
He just came out kind of almost like came out to almost give his respect in a sense almost by not attacking him really, because he very easily could have just attacked him from behind.
Exactly.
And
it almost caught me off guard that he was in the ring.
I know, because it was like the camera angle. All you saw was like the belt for a second, like just kind of came into frame, and it was like, oh shit, he's gonna get attacked.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh fuck, Jey, turn around, Jey, turn around. And then he did turn around, and Braun was just standing there, and he just held up the title, and that was that.
Yeah, man. I was gonna mention that. I had a couple points I wanted to bring up about this. I liked that it wasn't an attack from Braun Breaker. I liked how Braun Breaker throughout the night made a presence against all four members of it. I thought it, like we were talking about it on the last episode, we thought it was weird that Braun just was basically focused on Jey and no one else.
Keep talking. My contact just fell.
Oh, gotcha.
Put it back in real quick.
But yeah, no, I liked that he made a point to visit each one of them. And then, I don't know, man, I'm concerned about Jey winning just because of the scenario that can play out, but we're just gonna trust in the Hunter era here, the Triple H era, and hope that the booking goes right.
Yeah.
A few moments later.
All right. We're back real quick. I had a contact malfunction. It's still a little blurry, and it made my nose run and my eyes water. So if it looks like I'm crying or sounds like I'm crying, I promise I'm not.
He was that excited about Smackdown last night.
I was so excited. Dude, we were at Smackdown last night, like we said earlier. Again, it was the USA premiere in Seattle at Climate Pledge Arena. We got to go. Me, my wife, your girlfriend, my brother Nathan, his girlfriend. We were all there. It was fucking exciting, dude.
It was exciting. I've been excited to go to a lot of the wrestling shows, but this one just, had another like added aura to it. It's the first episode on USA. We got Cody Rhodes versus Solo in a cage match. There was a lot going into it that we were just really pumped for. So,
well, first off, we were almost late to the fucking show.
Hell yeah, we were. Damn.
It was just kind of, work schedules, my work, and I guess really it was my work and Haley's work for the most part. Like, I didn't even get home until just after 3. Nathan and Tally were already at my house. You got there shortly after I got home, and then Haley got there I think right at 3:30, 3:35ish, something like that. And we had planned to leave at 3:45, which we did. We left at 3:45 on the dot. That was our problem. We probably should have planned to leave at 3:30. Gave ourselves about an hour to the doors opening to drive from my house in Black Diamond all the way to Seattle, in probably the worst part of the day to be driving on any of the highways in Washington State. But regardless, and on top of it, we hit every fucking red light that was
every
possible.
Single one.
I think we only made it through one. Or maybe two.
Think two.
Yeah, so we hit every goddamn red light, and most of them we were stopped for multiple minutes. At one point, like when we first left the house, the GPS had us pegged to get there at 4:50, which it was like, all right, we'll park and we'll have to, kind of hustle up the street to get to the actual venue and get in, but we should be good. There was one point before we even got on the freeway that it then had us pegged at getting to where we were going to park at 4:59.
You're like, ugh.
We pulled in and parked at 4:51. I shaved off some time even with all the red lights. And as you said, there were only a couple moments where your butthole puckered. But we're all alive and well. We made it. We're good. We got in, and the only thing that we missed was Triple H opening the show.
Yeah.
And we heard it. We just didn't see it because we were like coming through security, using the bathroom, and getting to our seats.
Hunter knew we were late.
So, he did.
Paul knew we were late.
He knew we were late because they also decided to start the show. The first match was the steel cage match.
We were like, we cannot miss this.
We're like, we can't fucking miss this. We're going to see a steel cage match for the WWE Undisputed Championship live. We can't fucking be late or miss it. I was banking on them, like that obviously was the first match, but I was banking on something happening first because it was the premiere.
Yeah.
Which did happen. Triple H came out. But then also both their entrances.
True.
So I was like, that's a few minutes right there. Plus, something has to happen to just like initiate that. Hey, we're back on USA now. So yeah, and that happened. That played out. Everything worked out well. We got there. We were able to see the entire show from start to finish. So
yeah, we got the steel cage match. Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the WWE Championship. I didn't say undisputed. I
did, because that's what they called it last night, so I went with it. It's the WWE Undisputed Champion.
But it was a fantastic match, had some great spots in it.
Yeah.
And it was just solely one-on-one.
It was. The entire thing. That was awesome.
I thought there was going to be interference in that. We didn't get the rest of the Bloodline until Cody Rhodes got the pin on him, and then... Yep. The new Bloodline comes out, scales the cage, and enters, and starts to beat down on Cody.
Yeah.
Which then the OTC's music hits.
Hell
Roman
yeah,
Reigns'
man.
music hits, and sure enough, here he comes out. And dude, when he got in the ring and then closed the cage behind him, that moment was awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was dope.
He goes on and beats up everyone. Previous to this, Jacob Fatu had climbed over the cage and climbed under, and he ended up pulling Solo out of the cage before Roman could get to Solo. Dude, it was a hot segment, man.
Well, he had gotten Solo out, but then Roman had turned, and this was like my favorite part of that entire opening, was Roman turned to Jacob, and he could see Jacob through the open door of the cage.
Mm-hmm.
And he, with a little fucking cheeky grin on his face, just gives the...
Just bring it.
Come on, baby. Bring it on in here. And he was smiling at him like, come on. I'm waiting for you. Come get you some. And Jacob started up the steps. And, like, I think he stepped into the ring. But then Solo returned it and grabbed Jacob and pulled Jacob out, too. So, to the... not so happy fan base. We wanted to see Roman and Jacob go at it, but
yeah, we did.
We'll have to wait. One thing I want to point out on this was we got the biggest holy shit. Well, actually, it might not have been the biggest holy shit moment. The first holy shit moment of this match was Cody climbing to the top of the cage. And I swear to God, it looked like he was going to do a fucking moonsault.
I thought he was going to do the moonsault.
I thought he was going to do the moonsault. I was like, what? But then he ended up turning around and he hit a fucking crossbody essentially from the top of the cage into a pin attempt, which ended up obviously only being 2 at the time. But I think the biggest holy shit moment of this match was the fucking superplex.
Oh my God.
Cody almost died.
Seriously. That was like a super brain buster.
Yeah, that was an ugly spot because it was supposed to be a superplex. They were both on top, kind of up on the cage. Cody had gotten up onto the cage on the top. Solo had got kind of knocked back down onto the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of grabbed Cody just into a suplex. But Cody's like laying on his belly on top of the cage. And then he just goes for it. But Cody didn't get fully rotated. He landed on his upper shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, all of his weight down onto his upper shoulders. So that was actually like a scary moment for a second.
Yeah, dude.
But that definitely brought out the holy shit chance from the crowd. Because that was like, oh my God. He actually almost died. we almost just witnessed a death.
No kidding.
Solo, I think you're going to want to hide low or find a safe house nearby because you're probably wanted for murder. Anyways... Great match. Awesome. Whole opening to the show. Everything. We get next the tag team match. A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller against Kevin never mind. I almost said Kevin something else. Kevin Owens and a mystery partner. KO comes out, all fucking just hyped up, fucking ready to roll, comes out, and then it says, and his tag team partner. And it literally was, it was like the generic Smackdown music playing. And out comes this guy that Nathan coined Owen the Animal Steel because he looked like George the Animal Steel and Owen Wilson had a baby. He was a bald, hairy Owen Wilson lookalike.
You gotta listen to. I know you haven't watched it,
Yeah,
but Michael Cole's commentary on that.
I can't wait.
It was freaking hilarious.
But this dude named Ricky comes out, and A-Town Down Under, they're just losing their minds in the ring. They're laughing their asses off. KO grabs the microphone. He goes, "What are you two clowns laughing about?" And it's a jobber. It's literally a jobber. He's out here to be Kevin Owens' tag team partner. And KO says, "Look, no, he wasn't my first choice for a partner, but my actual first choice, he had some travel issues. He couldn't make it here. So yeah, this is my partner, okay? What's your name?" He says, "Ricky." "Ricky, this is Ricky." And then he's like, "So yeah, let's get to it." He puts the mic down and then he goes back to the corner and he's kind of talking up Ricky. And then you get like one of the producers from ringside producers coming up to the ring and calling KO over. And you see KO, he made it. He grabs the mic. He's here. He made it. And we're all just laughing our asses off. And then KO, best thing, KO turns around and says, "Ricky, I'm sorry, but..." Oh, hits him with a stunner. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here."
I think hearing it back, I think he called him Reggie. Like,
oh, did he
just
say Reggie?
Pulled a random name out. Which made that even more funny.
It was like almost instantly after the stunner was hit. It was done so well. The stunner gets hit, and it was like the second Ricky goes to his back. "I hear voices in my head." Here comes out Randy fucking Orton, man. I almost said Kevin Orton earlier. That's why I had to stop myself. But yeah, man. And so Orton's the surprise partner, which you, me, and Nathan had been in a text chain throughout the week. That was Nathan. Nathan thought immediately it was going to be Orton, right? That was Nathan that thought that. Yeah. And it made sense. Totally made complete sense. I thought that we might, because it was the premiere on USA. I thought it was a very far-fetched idea, but I thought it'd be kind of dope, stunner and stunner. I was like, what if it's Stone Cold Steve Austin,
that would have been so cool.
That would have been the coolest thing ever. But yeah, so get Orton and KO against A-Town Down Under. Really good match, all around, solid. The finish, though, made me about jizz in my pants. So all around that whole ending sequence, we get Orton with Grayson Waller hung up on the ropes, getting ready to hit his vintage Randy Orton DDT. Austin Theory comes in to try to interfere. KO grabs him, throws him on the ropes, gets him side by side with Orton for the DDT also. And it was like, oh, this is beautiful. They hit him perfectly in unison. They both stand up. They're facing the crowd the other way. They look at each other, and they both hit the fucking Viper strikes to set up, like Randy Orton's essentially tuning up his own band, that same idea. KO's doing it with him. They're both pounding in unison on the ground. They both get up, and then Orton hits the RKO. Perfect timing as KO hits the stunner. Like, the whole thing was perfectly in unison. It was amazing. I loved every second of that of that finale to that match.
Yeah, man, that segment was awesome. The finale, like you said, was my favorite part too. It was
great.
It was so good.
It was awesome, man.
That leads us to Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. More drama going on. It was just Jax in the ring, and that she was just talking about how she has to defend her title at Bad Blood. She doesn't know who her next opponent is. She gets interrupted by Bayley, and she says, "I'm going to be the next one in line. I want my rematch." Tiffany Stratton comes out and says, "No way, no way," and then it blames Nia for losing the week before to Bayley. So also continuing that tension between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And then Naomi comes out and interrupts. So it was Bailey, Naomi just coming face to face with Tiffy and Nia, and this sets up. Nia gets this idea to face off in a tag match for the following SmackDown, and the stipulation is whoever gets the win. If Bailey and Naomi were to win, whoever gets the pinfall, they would be her next opponent. And then if Nia and Tiffany win, whoever they pin has to leave SmackDown forever. So
Yeah.
I thought this was the perfect heel stipulation to the match. It's going to divide a wedge between Bailey and Naomi, obviously, because whoever gets the pin gets the title shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you already got that going for you, and then you add on to the top, if Nia and Tiffy win, one of them has to leave SmackDown. So I like the stipulation.
Yeah.
I like where it's going, so I'm curious to see who comes out on top.
We haven't had many of these types of stipulations over the years, like a handful, but usually they're like a one-sided type of stipulation, right? Where it's like you lose and you're fired, or like you lose and you retire, or you lose and you leave the brand, where it's not usually like a two-way, whoever, like if you win you get a title shot, but if you lose you're gone type of thing. Like so I think that was definitely interesting, and I think this definitely is going to create tension between Naomi and Bailey, because it's whoever gets the pinfall or whoever gets the victory in the match, submission, whatever it could be, gets the title shot. So very interesting. I kind of want Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton to win the match.
Yeah.
I don't really know that I want to see Bailey versus Nia Jax again.
Mm-hmm.
I almost totally don't want to see Naomi versus Nia Jax at Bad Blood. Like, neither of those two matches, I don't think personally for me would hype me up comparative to the rest of the Bad Blood card so far.
Yeah.
I think that would be the equivalent of having the tag match at Bash at Berlin.
Yeah.
Right. Where it was like the street fight should have been on Bash at Berlin. That would have been dope. Like, I think the only way that I'd be hyped about Nia Jax defending it is if Tiffany Stratton's involved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and who knows? I don't know. Who knows how it could happen. But I
mean, I'm going to just say my prediction for the match. I think there's going to be a scenario where Tiffany and Nia are going to be bickering, and then Bailey gets the roll up on Tiffany and wins the match. That's my I think
it makes sense.
Bailey's going to be the one to face her at Bad Blood. No one's leaving SmackDown, but I definitely would love to see that scenario where someone has to leave. So
yeah,
because I really do. I want to see Tiffany Stratton.
If they're winning, I think it needs to be Bailey versus Nia Jax at Bad Blood. Yeah. I just don't think Naomi versus Nia Jax at Bad Blood is going to be a great match.
No,
at least like Bailey's a great worker in the ring. Not that Naomi's not. But I think Bailey's on another level. Yeah. And so I think that's just like, if you really want to keep pumping this card up, that would be the way to do it if it is going to be one of them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
This leads, we get Andrade versus Carmelo for the rubber match.
Yep.
Right? It's a tiebreaker here. They're tied at 2-2 in the series. We get the fifth match here. Not exactly what I was hoping for as the fifth. I was hoping it was going to be the main event. Which kind of it was, I guess. Yeah, it was the last match that took place on the show.
Yeah.
I was hoping there was going to be some stipulation involved. There wasn't. It was just a straight one-on-one match. But, dude, they cooked again. They blew the doors off the fucking thing. It was another really good match. The Spanish fly off the barricade.
Oh, my God.
Was insane, because that was so brutal.
And it was like hit face first.
I know, dude. And they were playing it like I don't know if they were playing it off or if they actually were in that much pain after that move, because Carmelo was like writhing in pain on the ground. Andrade was holding his face because he went face first into the fucking ground. It was wild, but we get Andrade out on top. Yeah. Andrade gets the win clean. Hit the fucking like double arm fucking into the twisty neck breaker off the top rope to get the finish, which was awesome. And yeah, man, this ends up with Andrade kind of celebrating the ring, and then here comes the LA Knight. Yep. Yeah.
Whose game is it?
Not really. I guess, yeah, kind of confront, talk a little smack.
Yeah.
But also to congratulate, it was kind of a respectful shit talking, if you will. But just pretty much say that it's official. Aldis made it official. Next week on SmackDown, we're getting LA Knight versus Andrade for the U.S. title.
Just building off what you said, I think the match was great. I was disappointed it wasn't just like you said. I wanted something bigger for how awesome the 4 previous matches were.
Yeah.
Again, great match, and I like that it did lead to a title shot out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
That said, again, I'm going to just put my prediction out there. I don't think Carmelo lets this go, and he gets involved next week, and we get that triple threat that we were kind of talking about last week.
Add Bad Blood.
Ooh. Or at least the go-home show. That seems to be...
Yeah, that's true,
seems to be what they've been doing.
They've been doing a big title defense at the go-home show for sure.
But if that's the go-home main event to SmackDown, I'm here for that.
I agree that, like I said, I was hoping there was going to be it was going to be a stipulated match of some form to just kind of up the ante. But these guys not being given that opportunity have made the absolute most use out of what they do have available.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fucking Spanish Fly, the springboard Spanish Fly the week before, the fucking, or I guess 2 weeks before, it was.
Yeah, that's right.
2 weeks before. The Spanish Fly off the barricade, they've just been doing crazy shit, corkscrew fucking springboard dives outside the ring, all sorts of stuff, man. So no, we didn't get the stipulated match that we wanted, but these guys have absolutely in no way, shape, or form disappointed in any of the 5 matches. Was it what we had hoped for? Not necessarily, but it was to no fault of their own. That's on everyone else. They were given what they were given, and they fucking delivered above and beyond. So
I will say just one last thing on it is just I think their match may have gotten cut in short just by how long some of the intros were leading up into this. It's a 2-hour show, and Randy Orton's entrance was really long.
It was long.
Roman's entrance is always really long.
Yeah.
So that said, they delivered what they could in that time frame, and like I said, I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the conclusion of SmackDown, which to preclude this, Aldis was like, obviously nothing was settled. Bloodline still beating down Cody.
Yeah.
Beating
From the
down,
opening, yeah.
Yeah, Roman, and so he was like, Solo and Jacob had to have proposed this tag team match, and it's gonna be against Roman and Cody. Cody storms into the office and says, "No, I said what I said. I'm finished with the Bloodline. That's it. Roman's gonna have to find his own partner." And then fast forward, we get to Aldis in the middle of the ring with the contract. Roman comes out and he says he doesn't need no contract. This is family business. He still runs the show. He's still the same tribal chief as he always is. And this is his WWE, which brings out Cody. Cody comes, well, I'm the champion. This hasn't been your WWE since WrestleMania 40.
I loved the way he put it, though, to start. Just very, your ring, your WWE. It was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shots fired.
Cody sticking up for himself.
That was awesome. I just loved that it was, because, motherfucker, you haven't been here since WrestleMania 40.
Yes.
The fuck? That I loved that. That was awesome.
Yeah, so get a face off with those two. By the way, this is the first time Roman has spoken since WrestleMania 40.
Literally since before WrestleMania 40, because he didn't say nothing at WrestleMania 40.
So I thought that we get to hear his voice first in Seattle, huh? That quickly brings out Solo, and he's just up on the stageway, and the Tongans attack Cody and Roman from behind.
Come up out from under the ring. Which when did they get there?
I know.
That's what I want to know. When did they have to have a way up to go underneath everything and come up from under the ring or something.
I
Has
think
to be a
it's.
tunnel or something.
I think they trick us with having to watch the video packages, and because
And then they just come through the crowd.
I totally missed Meechin coming out. I don't even remember her coming out.
That is true. Yeah.
And it was because there was a segment that we're watching, and I was like, when the fuck did she come out?
Well, and one thing too was when that happened, Tally goes, "What the fuck? I wanted to see Meechin's entrance." She was like, "What the hell? I really wanted to see Meechin's entrance." I was like, "She's just in the fucking ring." I was like, "Okay." I thought I missed something, but yeah.
Yeah.
Piper Niven versus Meechin happened also. We just didn't cover it on that on Smackdown tonight because there was nothing to really cover.
Nothing.
Meechin won, but
ultimately they get the Cody and Roman get the upper hand, and Roman goes and signs the contract, and then Cody reaches out his hands and grabs the contract and he signs it. So at Bad Blood we got Roman and Cody
for the WWE Undisputed Championship to just add. Well, we're assuming it's for the title.
No, this is a tag match. It's not for the title.
Oh, shit.
I
completely threw myself off. I was buying a shirt when the backstage segment happened.
Oh, gotcha.
So I missed part of that.
So, yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
Cody,
thank God Tim's here.
Cody is teaming with Roman Reigns to face Solo and Jacob Fatu at Bad Blood.
Oh, fuck me. That's even better.
So
I was going to be honest. I was kind of like, really? We're getting Cody and Roman again? Fuck. Why? But that's even better. Fuck yeah. Cody and Roman versus Solo and Jacob. See, this is why I keep this guy around. He corrects me. He keeps me on my toesies.
Now, my only disappointment with this is just Cody saying, I'm done with the bloodline. And then just because the Tongans attack him again, that's why he's back into the feud. That's the way it kind of played out is he gets attacked by the Tongans, and then I'm going to sign the contract. But the other end of the spectrum, which I think it can lead to, is we've been talking about Bloodline versus Bloodline, and how will Rock come back as betraying Roman. I think seeing him team with the ultimate enemy, Cody Rhodes, ultimately can lead to this, you're teaming with the enemy, and then that's where it starts, this Bloodline versus Bloodline. So what do you think?
Okay, so that obviously is going to lead to War Games, Survivor Series.
Yeah.
So are you thinking that The Rock is the fifth member of Solo's Bloodline?
I think so.
So the Tongans, Jacob, Solo,
and
The Rock against Roman, Jay, Jimmy, potentially Sammy,
and
maybe Cody?
Maybe Cody or Zilla Fatu.
I feel like if the scenario that you're saying is at what ends up playing out, Cody can't just be done.
That's true,
right? Because The Rock's in it. Like The Rock is then inserting himself because of Cody. So Cody can't just be like, all right, have fun, and just go do his own thing. Then, right? Like Cody still has to be involved somehow.
Yeah.
And then damn, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Well, that said, can we announce it now?
Oh yeah,
we got tickets to Survivor Series.
Yes,
we're going to War Games.
Yes, Tim and I are going to Vancouver. We will be at War Games, and not only will we be at War Games, we will then also be at the following Monday Night Raw,
which is up in Everett. So
yeah, we're getting a lot of live wrestling in or close to Washington State over the next couple months.
Some good shows. We got the network premiere on USA. We got War Games, and then the post War Games.
And dude, with the card that they're stacking for Bad Blood, they better fucking blow the doors off this shit at Survivor Series.
No kidding.
Because the Bad Blood card now, especially now that I know it's a tag team match, that makes me so happy. I was so lost. God damn, that you just blew my mind. I shouldn't have went and got a shirt. I bought a Rhea Ripley shirt, and I missed everything. I missed the most important backstage segment. I didn't even fucking realize that happened. Yeah, man, that's gonna be an awesome match. So fuck, dude, we got potentially Sammy Gunther, Priest Balor, Rhea, Liv. We got Punk McIntyre in a Hell in the Cell. We got Cody Roman against Jacob and Solo.
And then Nia, whoever,
Nia
she's going
and
against.
whoever. Do you think that'll be the card?
I think that would
think
probably
that'll
be
be
the
the card?
card. Yeah.
Wins the... Are we getting the IC match on Raw?
I assume that's gonna be like the go home show to Bad
Okay.
Blood as well.
Okay. So potentially the Monday before Bad Blood being maybe the IC main event, and then the go home SmackDown, maybe the
The
potentially
US.
the triple threat to the
Yeah.
US that you're
Yeah.
talking about. Woo! We got some good shit going on. We did get a couple dark matches after the show. We're just going to cover those real quick just because we were there. We saw them live, so we thought we have to.
Yeah.
We got a fun match between Sheamus and Ludwig, which, I mean, it's just those. They've obviously have a history. They have some past beef. Another really good show.
Yeah.
Or another really good match. Sheamus ended up coming out on top. I like the dark matches because they play a little more to the crowd. It's a little
exactly.
more. It's not. They're still in kayfabe, but they break it a little bit. You know, especially with the second match that we got, which
is Gunther and Priest, and it was for the World Heavyweight Championship. We knew that they weren't going to change the title.
they're not dropping
but it was still
no world title on a dark match.
It was still a fun match,
Yeah.
and those two can go. Those are like they look big on TV, but seeing them live, they're big dudes, dude.
They're very big dudes, yeah.
And they can go. But yeah,
For sure.
Gunther wins the match, and
Yep.
dude, it was a fun night.
It was awesome, dude.
It was
Really
a fun night.
It was a blast. The crowd was into it.
Dude, the crowd was so loud.
Yeah, it was awesome. You were sitting because it was like me, Lindsay, Tally, Nathan, Haley, you.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how much you saw. This is the first time I've been to a televised live show, except I think for Wrestle Dream.
Yeah.
But for WWE, we went to an NXT show.
Oh yeah.
A
And
while
that
back.
wasn't a taped one.
Okay,
either.
so that wasn't televised.
No.
Yeah, so that was just a live show. The pyro is so much louder than you fucking think it is. And I know you and Nathan have been to multiple, you guys have been to pay-per-views, you guys have been to Raws and Smackdowns. So you guys knew this already. It caught me off guard at first. I was like, holy shit, that's fucking loud, dude. When Cody first came out for the cage match, I was like, what the fuck? Tally? Did you see her? Did you know? I swear she was going 6 to 8 inches out of her seat the whole night. Every single time pyro went on, she was jumping like fucking crazy, dude.
Damian Priest's pyro got me. I was talking to Haley and I forgot he had pyro in his entrance, and I was talking to her and it went off. I was like, oh,
that was the last one because there was no pyro for Ludwig or Sheamus.
No,
and it's a dark match, so I think Tally thought that it was over. There wasn't going to be any, and then fucking Priest pyro goes off. She was like, what the fuck? It was great, dude. But no, it was a fucking blast. We had a great time. Outside of us thinking we were going to be late and we didn't see Triple H for the circumstances, everything went off without a fucking hitch.
Yeah.
Everything was solid. It was a great show. So
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Moving on to the banger of the week. What do you got for me, Timmy?
I gotta go with a steel cage match, man.
Okay.
We got to do the whoa,
Yeah,
and that was a lot of fun, and
awesome.
there's awesome spots in it. We got to see Roman Reigns do the cage, close in the cage moment, and I don't know, man. It was a great moment. I think that's my banger of the week. I know that's my banger of the week.
Yeah, I'm going with the final sequence of the KO Randy Orton tag match, dude. It was. I love Randy Orton. I fucking love KO. The RKO and the Stunner are both two of my favorite moves of all time. Just seeing all that whole sequence with the double DDT, them both doing the fucking Viper turn and the pounding and then hitting the moves for the win. It was too good for me, man.
And they were in sync through the whole thing.
Yeah, it was. The entirety of all of that was perfectly timed.
Yeah, I agree.
The DDT, them hitting perfect timing, them falling to the mat and doing the double hand pounds perfectly in sync. And then the fucking stunner and the RKO was great.
Yeah.
It was perfectly timed. They did it right. They didn't have him kick for the stunner first. They both just went in. Like, they went both into it to the point where I thought KO was hitting an RKO.
I thought he was too.
I was like, he's hitting a fucking RKO, but then he went to his butt for the stunner. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So that's definitely my banger of the week.
That's a great one, man. Which brings us to the belt question of the week. I posed this one, and we're calling it the Overjoy and Buzzkill.
Yeah.
Throughout the years, you know, I think we get emotionally invested in some of these matches for sure. So my question to you is, what match outcome had you fully invested and the outcome was pure joy? And then what match outcome had you fully invested and the outcome was a total buzzkill? Had you sad, angry, whatever it was? Let's hear it.
All right. I think this is my favorite question you've asked me so far because it didn't make me angry at you. You always put parameters on things. I was always like, son of a bitch, I got to think of other stuff. No, this is a really awesome question. I liked it a lot. And just literally reading it, it was immediate, dude. Like, I was like, boom and boom. Like, I knew what they were. So I'm going to go with the buzzkill first, the match that I was like invested in, hyped for, and then the outcome I was like, what the fuck? And that was Taker losing the streak to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like, because I don't think it was supposed to happen. Still, to this day, I don't think it was supposed to happen. And it was just like situation. And it made no sense. Brock didn't need it. There was absolutely no reason for him to be the one that took the streak. It didn't propel Brock. Like, it didn't build him more, like give him a bigger push. Like, he was already a fucking superstar, like a mega star. He didn't need that. And so I think it was a waste of a decades long thing that they had built for so long and done so well with, and had so many other moments that would have made so much more sense to end it if you were going to end it, to then have it just end in such an anticlimactic way, I think. So that's that. The one where it was just pure joy was Jeff Hardy winning his first world title in the triple threat match against Edge and Triple H. Like, it was, if I remember correctly, weren't we all together when that happened?
I want to say, yeah.
I think we were all together.
You were at my mom's place.
Yeah, I think so. And we went fucking crazy. Like, that was all we ever wanted. We wanted Jeff to get that fucking title to win, man. And then when they finally started giving the push, and it was like, it's not going to fucking happen, because they had like pushed it and then no, and then pushed it and then no, and then pushed it and then no, and then finally like gave him this push, and then he went on the fucking with the title reign with the gold hair. Like, it was just all so fucking, it was great. It was awesome. So that's definitely mine. That's like one of the main matches that sticks out in my mind is Triple H hitting the pedigree, and then Jeff hitting the swanton, knocking Triple H out of the ring and getting the pin.
Yeah, man.
I play through that sequence in my mind very, very often. So,
well,
what about you?
My buzzkill match, which is funny, it involves Jeff Hardy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the Taker versus Jeff Hardy in the ladder match.
The ladder match? That was your buzzkill match?
Well, it had happy emotions, but it was like that moment when, like you said, where Jeff Hardy was getting chances to go and just not quite doing it. And I had been pulling for Jeff Hardy for so long. Like, how could you not?
Yeah.
The dude is awesome. I mean, he's so good. And so just him losing that, I mean, it did wonders for him.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't think you're going to believe he's being Taker, but just the whole feel to it, you just kind of was like, oh, he was so close. And it wasn't, like I said, this could be a sad or angry, and I felt sad in that moment just because he didn't win. But it's one of those like just moments on Raw that is always in the highlights. It just sticks out.
Well, because it's one of the true times where, because he was still a young gun at that point, right? It was one of the true times where somebody, like you watched somebody earn the respect of the locker room in a match in the ring. And he earned the respect of probably I don't even know if it's arguable, but the most important person in the locker room, that's The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone would argue that the Undertaker's respect is the most important fucking thing in the locker room to today.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's not even in the locker room anymore on a regular basis, but that's still like such a huge, impactful thing, is to have that and earn that. And he earned that in that match against him because of just that grit and that his just determination and like I'm not done with you. Like, you're like, I'm not staying down. You're going to have to kill me to get me to stay down type of attitude that he had in that match, and it fucking showed.
Yeah.
So
and just considering Taker's character at that time, he was a big heel, and for him to give him the respect, I thought that was super cool. Going to the pure joy, you kind of took mine because I do remember all of us jumping up and down and just we were overjoyed for sure. So that was gonna be mine, but I had a backup just in case. And
in my mind, when I was like, I don't know if there's any way that can't be Tim's too, but I'm saying it. I don't care.
So no, I would agree with you, but I had some in the holster just in case, and I have to go with No Way Out, Brock Lesnar versus Eddie Guerrero, and Eddie Guerrero winning the championship
for the first time. Also,
for the first time. Yep,
and that was when we got the hug.
Yeah,
in the ring.
Or no, that was in at WrestleMania.
Oh, that's right.
This is where Eddie jumped into the crowd, and it was just super awesome moment. Well deserved, and
overly deserved.
And I mean, on paper, you're like, I don't see how he's gonna be Brock Lesnar, especially during that time. Yeah. We got some interference from Goldberg, and one thing led to another. Eddie pulls it off. Super awesome moment. So that was my overjoy moment.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome. Good. And that brings us to Blockbusters! Here we go, Timmy. What do we got?
We got Venom, The Last Dance. I know we've brought it up a couple times, but we had another final trailer drop. So know that this is potentially Tom Hardy's last time as Venom, or at least solo film from what it seems
like it at least.
But the big reveal was that Knull is the big bad in this, and it got fans pretty split up right now.
Yes, it does, man. Neither of us, we talked a little bit before, neither of us really knew a whole lot about Knull, the history of Knull leading up to this. So we both, did ourselves a little digging, a little research. Turns out that fans are divided on this primarily due to the fact that Knull is like a true, like, fucking big bad. Yeah. And so I think it's more the division comes from the fact that it's taking place in the movie that's taking place in, maybe. Yeah. Which, like, makes sense that it's taking place in this movie, but just the fact that it's like, it almost like the character of Knull almost, it seems like the fan base is thinking that should be on a bigger scale. Yeah. Right? Like, it should be, because Knull is definitely a Thanos level, if not above and beyond a Thanos level threat.
Exactly.
And so for it to be happening in the third Venom film and not more like a Avengers Endgame style type thing, right? I think that's where like the division is coming from, because I think people are more or less worried about like if it's going to be, he's going to get his due justice of the character work in the film.
And I think the fans, I mean, I know we've enjoyed them, but there's definitely been, the Sony movies haven't been well regarded.
Yes, they have not been received great.
And I think people's fear, and it's a legit fear, is this a one-off? Is Knull going to be shown one time only, defeated in this one movie, or will it extend into the MCU, or what? But I think that's really the biggest fear.
And I think it's a fair fear to have, especially when you look back at, and this is Sony Marvel, which obviously does not have a great history, I would argue, especially not with third movies. Because even Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 was not.
No.
It was easily the least favored of the trilogy. And the way they handled Topher Grace as Eddie Brock and Venom in that, and just the whole kind of movie and the black symbiote suit and all that wasn't great.
Having it resolved in one movie doesn't make any sense.
Yes, exactly. And I think then you also look at even Marvel's handling of third movies sometimes has not been great, with the exception of Guardians.
I would say Ragnarok. Ragnarok was
sorry, yeah, that's right. Ragnarok was great.
Yes.
Ragnarok was great. I honestly was thinking Love and Thunder was
that's
a fourth movie. Yeah, no, Ragnarok was great. So Ragnarok and Guardians.
I know Iron Man 3 wasn't well received.
That's the one that I think would probably put people more on like that fear side for this, is because of how
the Mandarin
was handled. And so it's like, oh, please don't fumble this. But at the same time, it's like, if this isn't just an introduction to the character, I think then, as in a whole, it's probably a failure.
Yeah.
Right? Like, a character like Knull needs more time than a single movie to fully fledge out what the character is.
Exactly.
And if we don't get that, kind of similar to Carnage in a way. Like, we didn't get that with Carnage. Like, Carnage's fucking character arc should not be a single movie.
Exactly.
Either. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Another, other than the Knull, obviously, the Knull reveal. The other big takeaway for me from this trailer was Venom Fish. We got to see Venom Fish take place, and for those of you that don't know, we've had Venom Horse before. We get Venom Horse again in the trailer for this movie. And I think it's a cooler Venom Horse this time too, but we got Venom Fish as well. Yeah. And it's somehow they managed to make Venom Fish even more creepy than Venom Horse. But yeah, so that was just a little side note there. But we didn't put this on here. Do you off the top of your head know when The Last Dance comes out?
I want to say it's early October. It's
October.
coming.
Okay,
it's coming out.
It's soon. Yeah. I thought it was soon. I just couldn't put a date to it. So yeah, we got Venom Last Dance. Final trailer dropped. We got some new information, and I'm excited for it. I enjoyed the first two. Even with the exception of the fact that I do think they did a disservice to the character of Carnage.
Yeah.
I think Woody Harrelson playing Carnage was great. Yes. But I think it was a disservice to the character as a whole, with like how important that character is in the comics, and it was a single movie arc. But whatever.
Yeah. I'm just hoping. I'm excited for this as well. I think at least the Venom in the Sony universe is the most well received, even if Carnage wasn't the best. I'm just hoping that we get a Tom Hardy and Tom Holland face off at some point. So I do
too. I really want that. I've wanted that for a long time now. And I just feel like things have been kind of so much like this, because it's like you got the post-credit scenes in both movies, with the end of like the post-credit scene from No Way Home was Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock and Venom being transported into the MCU, and then you got the post-credit scene from, was it Let There Be Carnage?
Yeah.
I think, of them, I think, coming back or something.
Yeah.
You got things that were pointed at in both, and you also got the point where like he sees him on the TV screen and like points to him,
yeah,
and like that type of stuff. But then there's also been like, in the trailers at least for this movie, it looks like a lot of that has been almost undone, to where like the symbiote being left in the MCU looks like it's been recovered and is now back in this universe. So it's just kind of weird. So interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah. We didn't put it on here, but Spider-Man 4 got a writer officially, and
sure did.
Tom Holland,
director.
Director. Yes, that's right. And Tom Holland's on board. I know that was a big thing with the Sony Marvel movies, is Tom Holland's wanting the right script and everything in place, and seems like he's excited about.
He had
this
essentially
director.
said he doesn't want to just do a fourth to do a fourth.
Yeah,
like, he wants it like. essentially said he won't do a fourth unless the story is right to do a fourth.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like the story is at least what they're getting in the early goings of it is right.
Yeah.
Because it's Daniel Cretton.
I just remember Daniel, but yeah, I think it definitely started.
Something like that. He was the director of Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So, which I'm stoked for because I loved that movie. That movie was so
really
well
good.
done.
Yeah.
And it didn't get what it deserved because of when it came out. It was like it was like during the COVID or like right when COVID kind of finished and everything, and it just didn't get what it deserved because that movie was.
The fight scenes in that movie were so good.
Everything, dude. The cinematography, if I can talk, all of the ode to Asian culture and everything, like the whole thing was done so well. I would argue that was probably the best movie in Phase 4.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, I'm excited that that's all involved there. That we're getting this. Hopefully, like we said, we get a little bit of that.
Yes.
In
Sony
some way,
and Marvel just need to.
Just
Disney.
Fucking
just need to
put a ring on it.
Just
put a ring on it. Consummate the goddamn marriage. And
come on,
Sony.
You're printing money.
There's no goddamn prenup here. Okay, you're getting married, and Marvel's taking everything from you. That's how it needs to happen. Just fucking deal with it. Marvel's better than you are. Let it go.
Yep.
Anyways, this brings us to Happy Gilmore 2.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm answering the last question first. I'm answering the question you have posted here. I'm going to answer it now.
Oh, okay.
I loved the original.
Who wouldn't?
How could you not love the
could you not
original?
love
And if
it?
you don't love the original, go fuck yourself. That's how I feel about you as a human being. The movie is amazing. Adam Sandler, especially in that point in the fucking 90s, was a fucking heyday, dude. Like he was like couldn't miss type of thing. Happy Gilmore was fucking great. It was amazing. It's a fantastic movie. I am so excited, and I have been so excited to know that Happy Gilmore 2 is happening. We've known this for a while now, but now we've just gotten enough info out about it for us to fully talk about it on the show, I think. Because like we could have talked about this for months now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fact that it was going to happen came out before we even started doing the show.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it's been in the works for a while now. But now like it's still in early production, but they're really putting some info out. We officially have 3 returning cast members, and that is Adam Sandler, McDonald. I can't remember his first name. Christopher, thank you. Christopher McDonald, and then Julie Bowen.
Yep.
Are all reprising their roles as the 3 primary characters in the first movie. And we also have 2, don't know yet if they're going to be cameos or actual full-blown roles in the movie yet, but we get Bad Bunny and Travis Kelce are both going to be involved in this movie. This movie is part of Adam Sandler's like multi-picture deal with Netflix, so this is going to be a Netflix release, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I've loved pretty much everything Adam Sandler has put out, so there's not a whole lot of misses for me. I like it all.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked for this. We also have information that they're going to be paying homage to Bob Barker, Carl Weathers, and Joe Flaherty. I don't know how to say his last name. Flaherty. Because they've all passed away in the recent years
really
and played
close together.
Yeah, really
here.
close
like,
together.
Two of them in this past year. And
Yeah,
I think
Carl
Bob
Weathers
Barker.
and Joe Flaherty, and then Bob Barker, I believe, was the previous year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, really close together, and they all obviously played like Carl Weathers specifically played like integral roles in the first film, obviously. But yeah, and then Joe Flaherty was the guy that was, "You're not gonna make this shot, you jackass." The guy that was that like Christopher McDonald's character like hired to try to throw Happy Gilmore off. And then Bob Barker obviously was Bob Barker in the celebrity doubles tournament.
I read that they're trying to get Drew Carey to be in the movie.
That would be a fucking
pay
great
homage
way to pay homage to Bob Barker for
Yeah.
sure. That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
To do on like a senior tour doubles
Yeah.
thing. Like that would be fucking awesome.
That'd
be great.
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah, man. What did you think? Like what about you?
Yeah, man, I'm super excited for this. Happy Gilmore is one of the the first Adam Sandler movies I could remember watching and just loving every minute of it. Quote it to this day, and excited to see that Virginia and Happy are still together in this movie.
Yep.
Yeah, man, I'm pumped for it.
And this is a true, like, surprising thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's only, to my knowledge that I can think of right now, there's only 2 movies that Adam Sandler has made sequels to, and it's Grown Ups and Murder Mystery.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't know that he has made sequels to anything else, and he's definitely not made a sequel to any of his, like, original big hits.
Yeah.
No Waterboy sequel, no Big Daddy sequel, no Billy Madison sequel, no Little Nicky sequel. Yeah. And then now we're getting the Happy Gilmore sequel. But those 5 movies were like the 5 movies that put him on the spot.
Yeah.
Outside of, obviously, SNL. But SNL got him those roles, and then those roles blew him up.
Yeah.
So
I heard there potentially might be another Hubie Halloween.
Oh, okay.
I don't know for sure, but I really like the first one.
I know, me too. It was fun. Like I said, man, I've loved everything he's done. Like, yeah. I don't know. I think there's one movie that I can think of right now that I wouldn't just like go out of my way to watch, and it's Spanglish.
See, I enjoyed that one.
I enjoyed it, but it was just a different tone of when I'm thinking like, oh, I want to watch an Adam Sandler movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I feel like most of, like, even 50 First Dates is still an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
But it's a rom-com at the same time. Where, like, Spanglish was a little deeper, a little darker.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, no, anyway, so we got kind of off on a tangent there. I love Adam Sandler. Like, Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey are like 2 of my favorite comedy actors ever. So yeah, I'm stoked for this.
Absolutely. Which brings us to Salem's Lot. I just saw the trailer for this. And
yeah, man, I watched it this morning.
It looks creepy as shit.
It does.
This comes out October 3rd on Max. It's a Stephen King adaptation, if you didn't know. The synopsis of this is author Ben Mears returns to his childhood home of Jerusalem Lot in search of inspiration for his next book, only to discover his hometown is being preyed upon by a bloodthirsty vampire. The director of this is Gary Dauberman, and he's been tied to the projects of It Chapter 1 and 2, Nun 1 and 2, and the 3 Annabelle movies. So got a lot of history in the horror genre.
They're really well done horror genre movies too. Like,
and with Stephen King adaptation of It Chapter 1 and 2. So I'm excited for this one. And
dude, it looks really good. Like you said, it's creepy. Like, it looks super creepy. There's a handful of people that I recognize in the movies, in the trailer for it. I don't know necessarily what the characters they are that they play in the film, but it's kind of older guy. He has a beard, kind of a comb over looking haircut, and he like closes a window, and in the trailer there's one of the vampire-ish looking creatures behind him. He is actually he's Jake Gyllenhaal's lawyer in the Presumed Innocent show that I talked about earlier on an earlier episode. So I recognize him from that.
Favorite Stephen King adapted movies? What do you got?
Oh man. Honestly, dude, I think It Chapter 1 and 2 is pretty. I mean, the original, but that wasn't technically a movie. It was a TV movie in 2 parts. So I don't think that technically counts, because I mean the original was fucking dope with Tim Curry. Yeah, was amazing. But the newer one was a whole other animal, dude. It was with Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, and it was so fucking good and terrifying, dude.
It was
like legitimately fucking like, oh my god, what are we doing? Because the Tim Curry, like the original, like even in those terrifying, like for then it was terrifying, but then like when we watched it when we were a little older after it had already been out and stuff, you kind of saw it and you're like, yeah, that's scary, but it's also like, it doesn't look real. Yeah. Like when he does the whole like teeth in the mouth opening thing in the original. Yeah, they fucking nailed it in the new ones.
Yeah.
So that it was fucking great. And then the cast that was in the movies for the kids and the adults
Did a really great job on
so
that.
good. It was great. So I think that's just like the main thing that pops out in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely put chapter 1 and 2 up there just because of how creepy it was. When I went to go see the second one, there was a big thunder and lightning storm going on, and the power cut out like right before the movie started, but luckily came back on like within 5 minutes. But just having thunder playing and then watching the movie at the same time, that was a
whole new level of like the environment and
it was good. And then just
immersive.
Exactly. And then the one more movie, and I have only seen it a couple of times, so it might not be as good as I remember it, but Storm of the Century, it was a TV movie, and I remember really just enjoying it back when I was younger, and I would love to rewatch it again because I do remember it to this day. So it definitely stuck with me. I just don't remember if it was good or not, but yeah, that's what I got.
Moving on to our second round of Blockbusted. All right. For those of you that either didn't hear this episode that when we did it before or don't remember what it was, this is Blockbusted is when we look at Rotten Tomatoes, specifically previous month, and we find the lowest rated at-home movie.
Yep.
So streaming. Okay. And it may have been a movie that like I guess I don't really know. I didn't pay too much attention to it, but I guess some of them may have been movies that have come out on streaming in that month as well that did go to theaters before maybe. But we're just specifically looking at the at-home category on Rotten Tomatoes and finding the lowest rated one. Kind of combined the lowest rated with the critic and the fan score. So this time I looked specifically for ones that also had a fan rating.
Yeah.
Because
our last one was not.
The last one did not have a fan rating. It only had a critic rating, and the critic rating was 0. Which is the reason why I went with it, because I was like, we have to watch this fucking film. The critic rating was 0, and it was off of like 15 reviews or something too. So I mean, it was like it was at least enough for someone to give it a percentage, and it had a 0. So that's why we had to look at it. But what was that one called? Do you remember? Clear Cut. This time, we found Crescent City. Oddly, the 2-word title both start with C's.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that until just now.
To make it even more weird and unfortunate for this specific actor, Alec Baldwin also stars in this one.
Yeah.
In, I would argue, an equally important role as the last film.
Yeah, I would agree.
I shouldn't say stars in it. He's in the film. I wouldn't say he stars in it. He's in it more in this one than the last one that we watched, than Clear Cut. He also survived.
Yes.
In this one. He stayed alive throughout this. He didn't die in the first 4.5 minutes of the film, which was, I guess, cool for him if he still wants to be attached to these. This movie, Crescent City, it had a 15% critic rating and a 28% fan rating. It also starred Terrence Howard, and I totally kept spacing on the other actor's name, and I honestly didn't give it the second thought to look it up and put it on there. So, Alec Baldwin and Terrence Howard. The synopsis of this film. When a small southern town is terrorized by a relentless serial killer, everyone becomes a suspect, including local authorities. As the body count rises and the dark mystery deepens, the chief detective becomes haunted by the horrors of his past. Terrence Howard is that chief detective. Yeah, man. Tell me what you thought. What'd you think?
Well, let me tell ya. Reading the synopsis of the movie had me excited for the movie. I was like, all right, this sounds right up my alley, and I'm not even gonna think about the score on this. I went in with an open mind.
I did the same thing.
But I was invested in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie, and then I could see where the critic scores were coming from. I did not have as much fun with this one as I did with Clear Cut. At least I was getting laughter, even though it was a serious movie from Clear Cut. But this one just, I think it took itself too seriously. It had a lot of plot lines that just really didn't tie into the big overall serial killer story. I mean, the acting was fine. I didn't have any issues with it. The only thing was the partner was making it more of trying to be like a comedy in this serious tone movie, and I was just I wasn't feeling it. I guessed who the ultimate serial killer was really early on in the movie, and I don't like when I can do that.
Yeah. Same.
So not I see where the score was coming from on this.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on that. There was, again, and it like with a similar, it was honestly very similar for me with Clear Cut in the sense of you were getting the story happening and then you were getting like random flashbacks that didn't make a lot of sense to a point. Like the fucking movie started off with Terrence Howard's character in church with his family, and like just randomly he like kind of does this number, closes his eyes, tilts his head back, and then he opens his eyes looking to his left, and he just sees this person in a red sweatshirt staring at him sitting there, and he like goes, "Oh!" in the middle of a church service, and then like that person wasn't actually there, so he was just like seeing something. But then, I mean, you go another probably 20 minutes without any reference to what the fuck that was about.
Yeah.
You're like, what was that? What is happening? You know? And that's how it started. You're like, what the fuck? Like, what was this about? And then you keep getting more and more, but then you don't get, just like Clear Cut too. Like you don't get the fight. Like you don't know what that is or what that's about until the very end of the fucking movie. And it's like in certain situations and stories and, you know, well done content, you can get away with that type of thing if you're setting it up right and you're building it right. But that just, for this and the previous movie watch, it just was not done right at all.
With Clear Cut, it circles back into the storyline. This one is just, it does in a way, but it has really no effect on the end result of this movie.
No, not at all. Like it not in any way.
Eliminated it, and it would have still been the same movie.
It would have, absolutely. You could have taken that whole thing out. Like you could have taken out the whole like this guy has like PTSD from killing a teenager, from a cop shooting a teenager in a drug bust, right?
Yeah.
You could have taken that whole thing out, and it would have had no impact on the rest of it.
Yeah.
It would have had zero impact on it because the partner in the end, like that played no impact. It had no role in what the final, like the climax, if you want to call it that. It was more like blue balls than a fucking climax. And like you said, like the synopsis, that's like right up our alley. Like we love the serial killer stuff. Like we talked about the Frozen Ground last week.
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff is like right up my fucking alley, man. I love true crime stuff. I love serial killer shit. So I was actually excited about this. Like I said too, I went into it with an open mind. I do think there was like all of the sudden, and I'm gonna be honest. So I had to rent the movie. Yeah,
me too. I didn't buy this one like I did Clear Cut.
No, thank God.
Clear Cut's in my library still.
Good. Leave it there. That was the inception of Blockbusters. You gotta leave that there. I rented this one. I don't know what you rent on. What I rent on, which I think is just Xfinity. Or no, maybe I did rent it on Prime Video. I can't remember. Whatever I rented it on, you can't fast forward or rewind.
Oh.
So like I said earlier in the show, my dad just like randomly showed up to my house on Thursday, and I was like finishing it. And so like when they got there, I was doing a couple things, and I had the movie on, and then they were there for like 20 minutes before I was like, fuck, I need to pause this. So I paused it, and then when they left, I went to rewind, and I couldn't rewind it
Oh no!
So I missed like 20 minutes of this movie.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know. I actually don't know what happened at the point before. So like one of the last things I saw was like him and the girl and having the affair and everything.
Oh, okay.
And then the next thing I saw was she was holding them all at gunpoint.
Oh wow!
And I was like,
Yeah, you missed quite a bit in there.
yeah, I'm assuming some meaty stuff because, well, as
Not much.
meaty as it could have been.
Not much.
But yeah, because I was like, wait, what the fuck? And I was trying to rewind it and I was like, I'm not rewatching this just to see that amount of the movie. So, yeah. So I just was like, fuck it. I'm not going to know what happens unless Timmy wants to explain it to me.
I'll do that post show.
Cool.
No spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of, I guess.
I think we've been pretty good about it.
I think we have.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't care about the spoiler alert as much on Blockbusted
No.
because we're assuming these movies aren't that good. So it is what it is. But yeah, so this is where we're at. Timmy, we're going to give our own rating.
Our own Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes, our
rating.
own Rotten Tomatoes rating. And we're comparing it to the fan score.
Yes.
Is what we decided. Because we are not actual movie critics. We
Nope.
are fans. So
Yeah.
we're going to do it to the fan score. Obviously, Clear Cut did not have a fan score.
Yeah.
And the critic score is a 0. So that's what we had to go off of. Fan score on this is 28%. Timmy?
So I gave Clear Cut 5%, and you gave it 0.
Yeah, I gave it an absolute 0. Yes.
I'm gonna give this one a 2%.
Oh, okay.
Because the acting was not bad. There was not really bad acting in it. They were acting their hearts out for a bad story. So I'll give it 2%.
Okay. I was going 13%
Okay.
because I agree. I think the acting was fine. Unlike Clear Cut. The camera work and stuff in it I thought was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Where like there was like the fucking log roll at the end of Clear Cut that was just like what the fuck. There was like 7 million logs and there was only 6
log
and, yeah.
stack. Yeah.
And I thought that the story, the premise of it was solid. And I thought like even with the serial killer like idea of it and like what was happening and how this stuff was happening, like I thought that was all good.
Mm-hmm.
And like the setup of it, like with the, even if we guessed it, the way they set it up with like the pool scene in the beginning.
Yes, true.
Right? Definitely had me going a little longer not
Gotcha.
knowing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it just was so choppy. It
Yeah.
was so choppy. It was nothing to write home about in the end. It was like we said, it felt very anticlimactic. And it had the fucking flashback situation again that I don't know why. Like there's a lot of parallels in this and the first one that we did this with. So
Yeah.
I'm going 13%. You went with a 2%.
I went with a 2. So go see it. Crescent City. Best movie out there
Yeah.
for August.
Yes.
Let us know what you think of it.
That's where we're at. Here we go. The Blockbusters question of the week. I posed this question. Timmy, I said we've gotten a lot of movie franchises that have turned to the small screen for series adaptations of either reboots, sequels, or prequels. Some examples of that are Star Wars with all of the above.
Yeah.
Outside of, I guess, reboots. I haven't really done a reboot of anything on Disney+. Lord of the Rings with the...
Rings of Power.
Yeah, Rings of Power. Harry Potter. Reboot of Harry Potter is coming to Max sometime. We get Alien Earth that we covered last week. The MCU has gone to the small screen, obviously. The DCU has also gone to the small
Got
screen.
Penguin upcoming.
Penguin upcoming. We have Peacemaker. A couple other things that are in the works. Creature Commandos is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
The Scream MTV series that we got a few years back, just to name a few.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this? How do you feel about the idea of these like larger movie franchises, most of which we love, and that all started with movies, turning to the small screen? Do you think it makes it harder to keep up with content? Do you like the flexibility that series offer for screen time and storytelling compared to the constraints that movies are up against? And yeah, just in general, kind of what are your thoughts about that kind of just this movement that we have taking place?
I really enjoy it for the most part for what it is. It definitely allows more story to be told versus the 2 to 3 hour movie. You get it in small doses, and if done right, it kind of just keeps you wanting more by the episode frame, where you're like ends on a cliffhanger where you're like, what's going to happen next episode? Kind of like Only Murders in the Building. You know, I know that's just a TV show, but it got that same flow to most of what you've been talking about.
Yeah.
That said, some of the I kind of missed like the grand overall feel of a movie too at the same time, where you just get that resolve in that 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
But for the most part, for this question, I really do like it, and I think it actually makes it easier to follow along. It allows you more time to watch it overall. So I do enjoy it. I do. Okay. I do. I think awesome. It's a good thing for those movies. It'll just grows. I don't know the word for it, but it just grows some backstory for the main
lore.
The lore. That's the lore exactly what it is.
Of just the content.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I agree all around for the most part. I think I do enjoy it. And I think there's a lot of different levels of stuff that I mentioned, right? Like, does it make it harder to keep up? In certain aspects, no. In certain aspects, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, like, for instance, Harry Potter reboot. Does that make it harder to keep up? No, because the Harry Potter movie franchise ended fucking 10, 11 years ago, 13 years ago or whatever. So it's like those were based off books, and it's like, if you read the books and you're a fan of the books, you know what the outcome is. Mm-hmm. If you're a fan of the movies and you watch the movies, you know what the outcome is. The show's just going to rehash that, but in more detail to the books that the movies couldn't, and in a revamped way, right? So it's like, I don't think that makes it harder to keep up with the info, because most everybody knows the info already, except for, young kids.
Yeah.
So that's that in one example there. The Rings of Power, I haven't watched it yet. I want to, I just haven't. But the Rings of Power, I would assume that like it probably doesn't make it harder to keep up, because again, it's the same situation where like those movies and books, like the books fucking came out in decades ago, right? Like exactly. The 80s, 70s or 80s or something, or maybe even before that. And then the movies came out, between like 99 and the early, or like the mid to late 2000s, somewhere in there. Yeah. But then you have the MCU.
Yeah.
Right. Where like a lot of people would argue that, it made it really hard, because it was like you're having homework now to then go see movies, because there's intertwined stuff. And I think that's, of all the things we say, well, I guess Star Wars too, there's a lot of intertwinedness going on with that. The stories are interconnected.
But I like that.
I do too. I like it as well.
I like the connected universe.
Even like the Scream MTV series, like I loved that. It was a new take on it. It was different. It wasn't connected to the movies at all. It was its own thing.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question to you, is just how do you feel about shows that share the name but aren't part of that world and gives you a new take? Do you like it?
Yeah.
Do you not?
I do, and I think the only thing about the Scream and the MTV Scream series that did bother me was how much they changed Ghostface. Mm-hmm. I didn't care for that, but other than that, like outside of that, if I was able to put that aside and be like, all right, this isn't connected to the original movies, has nothing to do with it. It's its own thing. It's its own entity. I got to take that for what it is.
Yeah.
And then I was able to enjoy the show. I would love to see, specifically with all those horror movies, I would love to see them turned into series.
Yeah.
I would love to see a fucking Camp Crystal Lake series, a Freddy Krueger series, a Michael Myers series, like where they can, again, because a lot of those movies, to me, I feel like they leave you wanting more, like even when the series have concluded, like the most recent Halloween trilogy, like it's over, and I'm just like, I'm not done. I want more Michael Myers, you know? So I get that. And with a series, like you can take the first Halloween movie and turn it into a fucking first season.
Yeah.
Where you're getting an hour long, like the first, that first of the newest trilogy, right? The first movie was probably 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
That's almost 3 fucking episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But if you turn it into a 10-episode arc, that's fucking 3 Halloween ones.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know what I mean? So it's like, let's go. I'd totally be here for that. I think you could definitely do that with Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger might be the easiest one to do that with.
Yeah. Well, I'm hearing there is going to be a show called Welcome to Denny, and it's going to be a Pennywise prequel or Welcome to Derry. Sorry, yep. And then I heard
prequel
a Camp Crystal Lake show, and potentially a Rob Zombie directed Nightmare on Elm Street prequel show.
No shit. Okay.
Just rumor on that one.
So I pulled all that out of my ass, and then it made me a little giddy.
Yeah.
No, man. I think it is good all around to kind of wrap up the question.
It just gives us more of what we love,
exactly.
right?
And that's how I look at most everything. Like I know, like I said, people like get upset about like the MCU and they like started to do too much. And to a point, like I get that. I can totally understand. Like, yeah, they were putting out a lot of stuff really quickly there for a while. And the only issue for me, I had no problem with it being like, oh, I got to go watch this before I can watch this. That didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
It was the quality of stuff clearly started to like be hindered because they were putting fewer minds to the many things instead of many minds to the fewer things.
Yeah.
And so it ended up being just like too much. And yeah, but like all in all, like I love the interconnectedness of all of it. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I would love to. I'd love to see more of this stuff happen. And I hope those shows that you were just talking about do happen because I literally didn't know about any of that other than I do the Welcome to Derry.
Yeah.
But like the other ones, like I just pulled those out, and so that I had no idea that was happening. So, but it makes sense. Like those like old slasher characters, reboots of movies for a lot of them have not panned out. So let's try a fucking series. Yeah. Be able to dive deep, especially like Freddy, dude. You could literally have him haunt someone else's dreams in each episode.
Exactly,
and you could do that so easily and so well, and like make each episode almost a standalone, or it's going from like person to person in a specific friend group or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you could totally play that out to make it fucking make sense.
I love it,
and be able to have longevity with it. So
yeah, man,
dude. Episode 15.
Episode
one
15
for the books. We had a lot of exciting stuff to talk about today. So, man, I'm happy we're doing this shit still.
Hell
15
yeah,
episodes in, and we have no plan to slow down. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.